Perhaps we're familiar with the words of African-American politician William Clay, who said, quote, "Politics is quite a game. There are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. No permanent enemies too." The political awkwardness in the Labour Party sank yesterday as its acting national chairman, Callisto Okafor, announced Jude Ezenwafo as the presidential candidate flag bearer for the party ahead of the 2023 elections. Meanwhile, a former governor of Anambra State and frontline presidential hopeful, Peter Obi, defected from the PDP to the Labour Party to actualize his dream. Ezenwafo had worked with successive governors of the state from Chinwoke Mbadinuju through Chris Ngige, Peter Obi himself, and to Willie Obiano. Now, the immediate past helmsman is Willie Obiano, you remember. Now, whatever enmity and or friendship between the two is not permanent. The coming days will be crucial, Jide.
Yes, the crisis and the Labour Party and the factionalization of the party is not exactly new. And it actually predates the coming of Peter Obi into the party.
Okay.
What usually happens is every electoral cycle, people will try to assert their relevance. That's when you suddenly realize that, oh, so this party has factions. Before now, you hardly hear anyone talk about the Labour Party as a party.
Oh, yeah.
But
in contention.
It's a party to reckon with. No one. But politicians have always seen in the Labour Party a vehicle to actualize their ambitions, especially when they fail to get the nod in any of the two dominant parties. They look in the direction of the smaller parties, like Labour Party, the SDP. You know, remember we even have Zenith Labour Party.
Okay.
Is the idea of Zenith Labour Party emanated from the division in the Labour Party itself.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm making is that every election year, you then see this crisis, rearing its head.
Okay.
But it's always been there, and this party especially have always had different factions. So I'm not surprised, but it's reassuring for Peter Obi and his supporters that INEC recognizes the faction that produced Peter Obi as his presidential standard bearer. So Peter Obi has nothing to worry about. Yes, he knows that the mandate that they gave him is a valid one, and he will get the chance to slug it out with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and other people.
Kola, but aren't you surprised that Nigerian politicians tend to build more walls instead of bridges? And we are saying it's a business of interest and so on. Must the interest override cohesion?
Incidentally, Labour Party, well, I'm very familiar with the party and its inner workings.
Tell me you are a member.
I was a member.
Okay.
In fact, I was a state chairman. Oh yeah, and so, but I wouldn't like to, go very deep into the politics. I've never been a member of any other party aside from Labour Party. The factionalization, present one, started in 2017 or so, when some members of the party felt that the then chairman, late, that he had exhausted his term, that it was time for him to go. So the present chairman now, Abure, was the acting national secretary then. Himself and the present acting, factional acting national chairman, Callisto Okafor, came together with majority of the member of that NWC then to have a convention in Abuja. And the late Michael Motosho, in fact, of blessed memory, who died last weekend in New York, he became the chairman. However, again, Dr. Lucio Mimiko came into the picture. Remember, he's been, of course, he was the the party produced him as the governor in 2007 or so. I think he came in 2009 in Ondo State. So at a point, he came into the party, and as soon as he brought, of course, dough on the table, some members, the same group that actually went for that convention, he was able to get some of them. Chief among them is Abure, the present chairman of the faction that INEC has, given his nod. So thereafter, the other faction went to court. But even before then, there was an agreement between the NLC, that should be the original owner of the party, and the political class who were running the party. And that case is still in court till now. I think Barrister Femi Falana is the one, of course, in charge of that. So I think that factionalization started since that time, but they should be able to sit down and harmonize their interest for the interest of the party. For me, I think it should be a party that should be given the right alternative to Nigerians. But unfortunately, it's like every other party you have in Nigeria.
Yeah, Jide, is it wrong to look at or to envision a dark horse here, what you people know as a third force? Mm-hmm. And then you look at Peter Obi's fortunes as we sit here.
Yeah, Peter Obi is doing well. On social media, it looks unassailable. There is no candidate at this time that can defeat him on social media.
I like that phrase.
His base on social media is a very strong one. But just as my mentor, Danladi Bako, said yesterday, there is no polling booth on social media.
Yeah, not one.
So you can actually be extremely popular on social media and be somebody unknown on the political
far
field.
From home.
Yes, you can be a tiger on social media and a lamb
in real life.
In real political life. So this is what we see. I hope that it can build on that tremendous goodwill on social media. I can translate that to cross-country appeal, cross-country support. Is contesting as the standard bearer of a party now. Is not somebody's deputy. So hopefully he will be able to justify the confidence reposed in him.
Create a top impression.
And do quite well in the election. This is what I expect to see, but there's a lot that he has to do.
I think there's something that it may not be the right time to bring it out. I think Peter Obi, I hope, is a candidate on his own that is ready for the election. I'm dropping that as a hint. I hope he is a candidate on his own that is ready for the election, because a lot of Nigerians are right now investing hopes in him. But I'd like you to please trace his emergence or his sudden emergence in the Labour Party. He went around the entire country talking to PDP delegates from state to state. Then, the day after he finished that, he left the country. A few days after, he came back, and by the following day, he went straight to Labour Party. And he has not said anything against PDP, of course, fundamentally, and nothing against Atiku.
Maybe that time has not come.
Yeah.
Let's give him benefit of the doubt.
And of course, I hold on to the statement that in politics, the friendship is not permanent, the enmity is not, only the interest.
Yes.
I think we go to our next story. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on winning the All Progressives Congress APC presidential primaries ahead of the 2023 elections. The number one citizen urged the party to be united behind its candidate in order to achieve victory. The president observed that their factions and disagreements among contestants. But now that the primaries are ended, building a united front for the party is the way forward. The president is convinced that Bola Ahmed Tinubu would safeguard and improve the party's demographic achievements and legacy. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, of course, the president would definitely support the candidate of the party. You know, I think a younger Asiwaju, you know, brilliant. You can't. One thing you can't take away from him is the fact that he's a leader of, you know, leaders. I don't think there's any living person in Nigeria today who has developed leaders like him. You know, the role of a leader is not to have perpetual followers. Leaders should, you know, continuously produce leaders, and that he has done. That was, you know, at a time when, you know, we were talking about betrayal. I said, no, it should be a thing of joy that a man is seeing those that he has trained, you know, standing up today in the, you know, in the highest,
holding, you know, their own.
Honestly, in the highest level. And I think I want to quote the VP. He said something about him that was, for me, an elixir. He said in 2007 or thereabout, when they lost the Southwestern states, then to the PDP, that the man went to think on his own. You need a leader who can think through. And after thinking, he called him that he thinks that the only way to get the state back is by it's via forensic auditing. And the VP said, he said, this has never been done before. He said, but I have thought through, and I think this can be done. And the VP went to London to meet, you know, a renowned professional in that field. And that man still said, no, I don't think this can be done. But, you know, so I just stood and said, this is doable, even though it has not been done before. And they did that and got what they wanted. So you see in him a man who can think, and there is no, I mean, of course, it is one quality you need now. Somebody who can see what others are not seeing and who can take you there, who has a God to also take you there. So for me, if the president said he is the best for the party, of course, you can give it to him. Yeah. And two, he's creative, he's creative in governance. And that, of course, you need today. You need a person who can create, not the same mold. We can't continue, you know, with the same things and you expect a different result. So I think he will be bringing competence, experience, creativity to governance.
Yeah, Jide, you know, in politics, I do believe there's no act of kindness will go to waste. So this is the time to pay back Asiwaju for his investments.
Yes, and I'm happy that the president is trying to rally members of the party to support the choice of the party. He has said that Asiwaju is the best for the job, the best person to succeed him. Well, I think that's particularly reassuring for the president to declare Asiwaju as the best person to succeed him. That will put paid to speculations here and there that the president never wanted Asiwaju, or that even in victory, the president is still not happy that Asiwaju is the winner at the end of the day. So I think those were kind words from the president, and those words are significant because they are meant to rally the party's base, rally the supporters on the side of the candidate of the party. And as he said, the battle has been won and lost. Yes, in any contest, you will have disagreements and all that, but the good thing is, once the battle has ended, the winner has emerged, then the party must rally around the winner. No matter what you have against the winner, no matter your misgivings about the way the contest went, no one can deny that Asiwaju won this election, you know, resoundingly. He did not win by a slim margin. He won by an audacious margin. And everyone, the contest was shown live on TV. No one will be able to convince any rational human being that this election was rigged. So once the process, you subscribe to the process, in the words of Tony Prince Will, Asiwaju won the election hands down. Therefore, those who lost to him, who are good party men and women, should now rally around the candidate of the party. That is the only way the party can be guaranteed of success in future elections. But if people allow the acrimony that was there before the contest to go on, then it may be difficult for the party to go into
it poisons the
next
water.
Yeah, so that's why the president is saying, look, the election is water under the bridge. It's gone. So let's focus on the future. This is the best person for the job. Let us support him. So I hope that those who contested against Asiwaju, who have not congratulated him, amongst the aspirants who are well beaten, who have not congratulated him, this is the time to say, well done. You fought a good fight and you won hands down. We congratulate you. We wish you well. That's the way it should be. Democracy is not warfare in the real sense of the word. I mean, people should see democracy, or any time we have an election, as a carnival. You know, look at the joy on the faces of people. You can sense that they were happy to be at Eagle Square. That's the way it should be. It's not warfare. This is not Putin waging a senseless war against Ukraine. I mean, this is politics.
Okay.
You know, Mao Zedong said, politics is a war without bloodshed.
And war is politics, with bloodshed.
Now, in a contest like this, it's a contest for power. Now, you would expect some internal wrangling, but as soon as the election is over, primary election is over, that is one thing that I think Wike did exceptionally well. He said, now the contest is over, I will support my party. And that is expected from every member of the party. And I think...
Party, in this case, the APC.
Yeah, of course, the APC. And I think the party has no choice than to do that. You know, you understand the fact that if he hasn't won decisively, perhaps, you know, there can be some contestation, but he won decisively, and I think people will fall in line. It is normal. It is normal. Maybe after a while, then again, it also behoves on the candidate to reach out. He needs to reach out to people, you know, those who contested with him, you know, to other organs and, you know, units of the party, so that the party will go into the election as one.
Let's go to our next issue. You know, during a political campaign, everyone is concerned with what a candidate would do on this or that issue, if he is elected. But the candidate is more interested in what he would do if he is not elected. The All Progressives Congress bigwigs and chieftains are rallying support for the party's presidential flag bearer and former Lagos State Governor, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Beyond congratulatory and goodwill messages, the party's leaders say his candidacy is a breath of fresh air. So we can go back there again.
No, you know, for me, I think if you had gotten someone from the government, I don't think that would have been the very best. Of course, you know, the government has its own low points and questions will be asked. But for someone coming from outside the immediate government, I think it is good for the party. Somebody who will be bringing fresh ideas. And I think you can't underrate the political force of this man in question. In 2015, I remember was it 15 or 11, even when Ribadu was on the ballot, despite the internal stuff, you know what APC polled in the Southwest? About 1.4 million votes. You know, it's unusual, of course. Even in the South, I think they polled also some vote there. So for him, and you should notice that each election year, where the candidates come from, they always turn out a lot of votes. That is, like the last election, the Northeast and the Northwest, were leading, in terms of volume of votes. So fresh year, both in governance and both in terms of, voters turnout. I think right now you have the Northwest as the highest in terms of voters registration, about 21 million or so. Then you have the Southwest following with about 17.4 million votes. I think these will be in contest. So fresh air, one, a person with experience who is not within the government to inherit the blame and the failures of the government. And two, somebody with enough political force, political structure across the country to bring this to the table for the party. And I think the next election will be a very funny one in this country.
But not funny. Says the next election would not be funny, but I'm adding not funny.
Yes, it's one who understands what it means by the election being funny. The election could spring some surprises.
Yeah.
I want to imagine that the coming of NMPP will really muddle the waters in the Northwest especially.
Yeah.
Because people are angry. Some of them have decided to pitch their tents with the NMPP. So, and basically it's led by someone reputed for being a grassroots politician. So we expect, just as it happened in Bauchi and some states,
so you're looking at Kwankwasia and so on.
Yeah, Kwankwasia is a force. It's a massive force in northern Nigeria. It has not been able to win an election for some time. In terms of maybe a big election like governorship election, it's been struggling, but it's been building that group for some time, and that group is formidable. So I expect that some of what happened in 2019, when we saw some candidates winning on the platform of PRP.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, we expect that
in
Bauchi, some states of the north,
that's it.
Some PRP candidates emerged, even for the House of Reps, House of Assembly, they did well. So this time around, it is possible that NMPP will be able to win one or two states in the Northwest, and some House of Assembly, and even House of Reps as well.
If I drop this, the immediate past secretary of the APC in Akwa Ibom State has defected
to the
from
same
APC
NMPP.
to NNPP.
But the party is a lot stronger in the Northwest
than
your Akwa Ibom. So the way it is in Akwa Ibom and some other South states, the PDP is so strong that when you step out of the PDP to another party, you end up not winning.
All right. We understand, former Transportation Minister Rotimi Amechi has congratulated Asiwaju Tinubu. Not surprising? In the spirit of sportsmanship, as we're talking.
Yes. And just as I said yesterday, Asiwaju needs people like Rotimi Amechi, who came second to him. He needs his energy, his inventiveness, and his leadership qualities. This is the sort of person that will tell you the truth anytime. He just doesn't care how you feel, he will tell you the truth. And his methods work for him. So he's someone that I like so much. Following him for some time, I've interviewed him in the past when I was a tabloid journalist. So I think, having led the president's campaign for 2 successive elections and delivered victory, to the president, to the party, I think that Asiwaju
would need him.
Would need someone like Rotimi Amechi to help him prepare for the 2023 election.
Kolawole, the phrase is all hands on deck.
Yeah. No, of course, it's important.
Because it's not yet Uhuru.
I think, he was trying to give some data that time. You need every hand on deck too. I was, of course, I imagine an election that will be close, yet the victory will also be very decisive. Now, he mentioned the Northwest, then. In the last two elections, Northwest has been churning about over 8 million votes. I think in 2015 it was about 8.4 million votes. So yes, I thought 8.3 million votes. Then the last election,
the highest.
Yes, then it came to about 8.2 million votes. And Kano has played a major role in this. But there is something about Kwankwansia. In the general election, the presidential, they've not done too well. They've always done well at the local election, as in the gubernatorial and the House of,
and local government. Yeah.
Yes, but of course, you've had some, big wigs now move to, the party. So I think that may change the calculation of Kano a little bit, especially if Kwankwanso build that national momentum. But I doubt if the party has a structure around the country and the fund to build that. So as long as that is not done, so you still have a Northwest, you still have a Kano that may likely be won by APC. Then you look at Katsina, you look at Kaduna, and those surrounding states, I think it will still go to APC. Now, the moment that happens, of course, you need everyone there, all the members, and Asiwaju has a lot of support from that zone for this primary, so that will work for him.
You are not preempting anything.
No, I'm not. It is data. We're throwing data around.
Okay.
Of course, it's data. Of course, you know that. Okay.
No, it's all right. We are not quarreling. But let's talk about...
See, I am only going for data. Every hand on deck. I'm talking about the strength of Asiwaju in the primary. So that would also be translated to the general election.
Except that data is not a substitute for judgment, okay?
No, see, you need data for judgment.
All right, okay, so let me throw this. Okay. Voter education, Jide, is important here. Because at the end of the day, the voter is the king.
Yes, voter education and mobilization.
And mobilization,
helps you to win an election. In fact, in the U.S., the most important thing that can guarantee the victory of a candidate is what is called the get out the vote.
Get out the vote.
Yes. The candidates mobilize and engage a lot of volunteers as well as paid people who will be knocking on people's doors. Because people can register for election, and on election day, they will just be too lazy to come out and vote. So you need to get in their faces, knock on their doors, encourage them to go and line up and vote. That is the edge that parties that have structures on ground, that's the edge that they have. You can have sympathy, you can have the sympathy of the voter, but the voter still needs people to ginger him, people to come knock on his door and remind him of the need to exercise his franchise. If you don't have people to work for you on election day, not just as agents, but as a get out the vote, how do I call them? Get out the vote, someone that offers himself for something. I'm looking for a word, like get out the vote operative, if I can borrow that word. You are going to find it difficult to win. Parties like APC in Lagos and other places, they do meetings constantly along the levels of local government, ward, and all that. So on election day, the job will have been given to different people. That, okay, look, Akiode, that's your place. You are the one to get people to go out and vote.
And the voter feels a sense of belonging.
Yes, because they come, sometimes they offer you all kinds of things. They make it look like a celebration. Sometimes even drumming. Just for people, and you see them dancing, they are going to vote. But they are making themselves happy, That's why I said election should be like a carnival affair. Something that we are happy to look forward to. They should not come with violence at all.
Yeah.
Election is the opportunity of the voter to express the power in his hands. Once they win an election, that power literally is taken away.
Yeah.
So the people, they start behaving the way they like.
Yeah, yeah.
But when they come to you, when you're approaching the election, the voter is made to feel like he's God, he's the king.
Yeah,
you know? So,
KJ, aren't you missing the National Orientation Agency now?
I think I did something on that 2020 where I went for the head of the agency and not really condemning them, actually, stating the things that they should be doing, and you can't really take away the role of that agency, at this point. And unfortunately, it appears the non-government organizations are not focusing much on this area. Of course, it requires a lot of fund, to do voters' education, and the parties themselves, would be doing a whole lot in that area, but of course, in a partisan way, and that you can't take away from them. They are not doing that for free. They are doing that so they could win. So NOA is missed right now, and I don't think we have a substitute for that right now. The parties themselves would have to do that. But mind you, what I was trying to do then, was to you asked about all hands being on deck. So I was going to mention what Amechi was going to bring to the table, going from zone to zone and giving the data, but you didn't allow me to do that. Grandfather, after the program, I'll see you.
Don't go to that. don't go. But when we talk about illiteracy amongst voters in this country, it makes me sick, because we are looking at hundreds of thousands of voters who, on election morning, are apathetic. And you're wondering where this apathy is coming from.
It's, especially in some parts of our country, people don't take elections seriously. But in the North, for example, their political education is a lot better. And the medium of radio, they listen to radio a lot. There's a lot of political education that also goes on through, that people make use of through the radio. Now, if a lot of ballots get wasted in our country on election days, because people don't know that it makes no sense to fold
the ballot.
Yes, once you done the thumb printing,
you
don't have to fold. If you must fold, it must not
obliterate.
Yes,
if you
fold it, you must fold gingerly. Don't allow one part of the paper to touch the other side. Once it touches the other side, it destroys. It renders the vote invalid.
Jide, we have an Ade waiting in London. I'm sorry we kept you waiting. Ade, thank you for joining us.
It's all right. It's all right.
Good evening to you.
To all of you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I want to congratulate Asiwaju for the victory. But I want Babajide to please advise him. 1993, there was peace in Nigeria, no Boko Haram, no killing. It's different from 2022. He should not pick a Muslim vice president. If he did that, he will win the election.
The line is getting funny.
The candidates benefiting from advice from his party will take the best decision. And we're talking about the best decision, the decision that would help him to win the election. That decision may not always sit well with everybody. It is not even possible for a single decision by a politician who wants to win an election to sit well with everyone. But the politician, I want to believe, Asiwaju, I want to believe, is hoping to win. So he has to take the decision that will best propel him to victory. So it's not time for even that argument now. But I believe that at the end of the day, the politician in him will triumph. The desire to win will cause him to take the best decision that can enable him to win.
All right.
You asked about voters' apathy. I was going to mention something. There's something called demand erosion in policy analysis. When people consistently ask or demand for things from the government and they do not get response, the good response from them, it gets to a time that they lack that zeal to demand.
The enthusiasm wanes.
Yes, wanes. So people think that their votes do not count. As soon as the people know that their vote counts, they will come out to vote. Unfortunately, the more they stay away, the more they allow those in court.
KJ, but there's a counter logic to that.
Oh yeah.
Votes are very important. Otherwise, politicians would go buying them. So which behoves the voter to make it a bullet, according to the 16th American president. The ballot is bigger than the bullet.
I think it's the circle we are. At first, remember, it was they were snatching the ballot, throwing the people away.
Yeah.
Then we moved to, vote buying. Of course, we are almost getting out of that cycle to a time where people will be alive to their, to their responsibility to vote and to stand with their vote. So that time is coming. And I think it's our job too, on this side of the media, to keep educating the people on the need to come out to vote. That is very important on our side.
Whatever happens to this talk about transmitting election results electronically?
Electronically, yes.
Whatever. Well, I know power problems is still here.
Yeah, but it's still something that we have to do. The law says where it is feasible. That's the
proviso.
Yes, it doesn't say that in all cases you must do that. It's not like a card reader, for example. Even the card reader gets bypassed. So where the infrastructure supports that, they will go ahead and do electronic transmission of results where they have electricity, But in some very rural communities, I know that they will not be able to do this. Some very rural communities.
Yeah, Kola, quickly, let's rub this in. Ade just called us from the UK, and we're looking at diaspora voting. Appears to be something too far away from home.
We are not there yet. Even the voting in, if it's manipulated, we are not there yet. So let's not.
Even if it is electronically
mailing ballots like the US.
Trump, despite the sophistication of the US, system, Trump contested that. Now you want to bring that to Nigeria? I bet even the Supreme Court will not be able to declare the president.
Come on. But again, this is not to say our country is not sophisticated enough. Politically, close to 62 years after independence.
I think with improved technology.
We take a call. We take a caller from Niger State. Etsu is reaching us from Niger State. Good evening, Etsu. How are you?
I'm fine. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. How is Niger?
Thank you. We want to appreciate. We want to appreciate your program. This is one of the best programs in Nigeria. We always watch it. Even if there is no light, we have to take time to watch the program. So we really appreciate your program. And we want to say congratulations to Tinubu. And they have to do their calculation very well, Babajide, because if they didn't do the calculation, the article is coming. This issue of Muslim ticket or Muslim Christian ticket, they have to sit down and do the calculation very well. If not, they will miss it. What they should be now is how to win the general election.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think Tinubu is a very nice person And I think we want to appreciate this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esu.
Let's quickly go there. You know, one of our major fault lines is making our politics have a peculiar character. It must be Muslim, Christian, Muslim, Muslim, and on all that, North, South, and so on. I think we should age. We should be out of that groove, if you see.
I hope that one day we'll be propelled by competence more than anything else. I long to see that happen in our country. But we've had Muslim, Christian leadership in our country in the past. Remember Gawan? Gawan's number 2 was a Christian.
Okay.
So
He didn't.
He was a Christian.
He didn't matter.
And
yeah.
the heavens didn't collapse on our heads.
In Lagos State, Jafojo and
Jakonde in Lagos, yeah. And you can't tell me that the population of Christian is not big enough to have a Christian deputy.
Yeah.
But we had Jafojo and Jakonde, and nobody complained because it was Jakonde was the best governor of his era. Then even now, in the House of Reps, the number 1 and the number 2, they are both Muslims. Wase and Bajabi, they are both Muslims. No one complains about it. You know?
Do I even remember that?
That is the thing.
People are
more concerned. People are more concerned about the fact that they are doing a good job. Baja is providing leadership. Is well complemented by Wase, and everyone is happy. So I know that we'll get to that point one day when we have a succession of good leaders. People won't think about where they come from anymore.
Kola, remember the brouhaha about the 1993 Abiola and Kingibe thing, you know? But it didn't matter. And we're talking about a mere 29 years ago.
I think, see, the issue is not now. It started from 1914, and successively also we have not really helped, help the issue as we should. By the time you look at the homogeneity nature of the country, of course, you must take into consideration every interest. However, I think it is also good for us to sit down and ask ourselves, is there a separate market for a Muslim? Is there a separate road for a Christian? As long as you have leaders who can deliver, I think people are just in. Are you going to protect my
separate pilots?
There is none.
You get into an aircraft. You don't care about the religion of the
whether
pilot.
it's this or that. I think the fear is this: is that people are scared. If you are, if you belong to so religion, are you going to protect me that belong to this religion? So as long as they are sure that these guys are liberal and and they don't have such history, I think it won't be a problem.
I remember what, the late American president, the oldest, what's his name? The old cowboy, Reagan. When he was shot, Ronald Reagan, when he was shot, the doctor attending to him, he quipped, "I hope he's Republican," and people laughed. So, but that's the nature of politics, No permanent friendship, as I said earlier on, and no permanent enmity and all.
No permanent pilots.
See, I think
you get into an aircraft, you don't know where the pilot is from, but you give your whole life to him.
To him.
You believe that he will take you there. When an aircraft is flying at more than 30,000 feet, if anything happens, you don't stand a chance of surviving. Even when it's not that high, if anything happens, you don't stand a chance. When we had this crash in 2006, the plane had not even finished climbing. It came down near the airport. People died, But when we get into an aircraft, we don't care about the religion of the pilot. It's taking us to a destination. We believe that it will take us there. I believe that we must get to that point when we can trust our leaders to be fair to everyone. Our leaders to ensure that they work that we can be sure that they will work for us. That we have voted for people who will truly work for us and give their best at all times.
Leaders who... Okay, Uche is reaching us from Newi. Newi is in Anambra State. Uche, good evening to you. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening,
Citizen Jones.
Professor.
I know be Profo. Go on.
Good evening, Chief Babajide.
Oh, no.
And there's Johnson here. There's Johnson.
No,
You are distributing appellations.
You must greet everybody.
You are distributing appellations today.
Yeah, this congratulations to the Japan himself. But I think his what I call them kitchen cabinet or his people, his followers should advise him the way he should talk from now.
Yes.
The way he should talk. He should not
You are right.
talk too much.
You are right.
You know, because if he talks too much, they will count it. They will can count. You know.
They will misinterpret it. Yes.
Then,
Can be used against him. Yeah.
You remember people fought with what I call it fight with Buhari, and he saw the marching even as a sitting president. So if he mistake, Atiku will take the day. Forget about the people say that they are going for the southeast. The southeast, they don't have any option than to vote for PDP.
Oche, we thank you very kindly. Thank you very, very much for
that point that I made. I think it's important that we stress that point.
You know, I was going to talk about handlers.
Yes. How do you handle the big man?
Yeah.
To ensure that at this time, if I were one of the handlers of Asiwaju, for example, I would set out no-go areas. Don't make comments on this kind of things. At this time, there are certain things that you cannot say as a presidential candidate from southern Nigeria. Even if you say it with genuineness of intention. If you say with the genuineness of intention, it can still be misinterpreted to mean that, oh, if this person gets there, he's going to move against us. There are some emotive issues. Issues like restructuring, you know, those are...
State policing and all that.
See, if we begin to talk about those things, people, they will then begin to think, oh, this is the plan. He's going to move against us. So those of them who didn't want him in the first place would then say, did we not tell you? So Asiwaju has to be well managed at this time.
Caller,
so the caller was right.
Handlers.
No doubt, he needs a very strategic manager and one that will not be scared of him, one that will have an unfiltered access, that will see him at all times, not one that, you can't manage a person from a distance.
And the big man must listen to his handlers.
No, see, when you are good with your job, when the big man, when you manage people and they falter the first time, if you tell a man that if you do this, this is the result, but you do this, here's the result. If he feels the first time and he sees what you tell him, I can tell you that the next time, won't do it again.
I think we must tell every big man in this country, when it comes to image making, you are the first image maker. You, the big man. All right, our job is done. Just when you think you are enjoying the show, the time comes. Jide, we must leave.
Yeah, we have to leave.
Yeah.
We have to leave.
Caller, I thank you very kindly for your...
Thank you. Grandpa, good to see you again.
Yeah, great. Don't forget that fight when we finish.
Oh, of course, we'll do that.
All right. Okay, that will just about do it on the show today. If you missed it, join us at 11 for our late edition. And of course, don't forget it's Sunday where we will give you a 2-hour expanded program. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. And on behalf of the Backroom Boys, I'm Citizen Jones saying thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.